I'm Samantha Mowat. I'm a clairvoyant psychic and a contactee, and I think today I want to talk to you about something that I think is really important. As a parent who's raising contactees and abductees and these really psychic little people, I've come to realize a couple things. When you're raising these new children who are so much more psychically aware than we were at their age, it can be really challenging to help keep them grounded and stable in this reality. And so you may be wondering exactly what I mean when I say grounded and stable in this reality. Well, for my kids, before we go to school every morning, I try to get them to ground their energy on the way, like when we're in the vehicle. Everyone will get in, they'll buckle in, and I'll be like, okay guys, time to put up your energy protection. So we do things like white light, golden bubble, and then everybody picks their grounding cord. And some days there are ridiculous things like hot chocolate or Minecraft or puppies or rainbows or whatever, and just let them go with it. But the important part is just get them to visualize that energy anchoring from themselves going to the center of the earth. And as you do so, I find it's a good bonding exercise because it helps to keep them a little more level-headed in the day. It helps them to recognize their energy as something that needs to be grounded, something that needs to be connected in. That way they're not being very flighty. I don't do it. I notice that my youngest in particular, he'll go to school. Okay, I don't know what hit that Swiss shard, but something hit it. But I notice he'll go to school and then he'll have a day where it's more difficult for him to stay focused on what's being taught and his lesson plans and everything else. And so I also found that when I do this, my other child, who's more psychically inclined towards things like of an empathic nature, has an easier time keeping her energy clear from the vibrations being emitted by her friends. And so when you're raising these little people that are more psychically inclined, you'll find that by helping to ground and protect their energy, they'll have an easier time managing their psychic abilities without their abilities overwhelming them. And so I do try to get them to do things like, okay, say, good morning angels, good morning spirit guides, can you help me today? And remind them before they go, like, hey, ask your guides for help. If you need any help, ask your angels, ask your guides, ask the beings you work with. These are really important things to do. And I find that actually helps because I often hear them incorporating the use of the beings that they're working with into their day-to-day lives. I've also found that as I look at raising a little medium in particular, one thing that has really helped was teaching this child who's so highly empathic, much more empathic than I am, who can walk into a room and recognize, like, okay, my friend over here is really sad because her parents are going through a divorce and she's feeling sad about that, and my other friend over here is dealing with the stress of not having their father present in their life because their father has passed, and my other little friend over here is having this happen and they're so angry. And see how there's really big emotions being present in these little people, and they're all emitting this coming out their aura. And so when you have little empaths going into the classroom and having everybody's emotions coming at them, it can be overwhelming and kind of difficult to deal with. And so grounding the energy does help. Asking the angels and guides to have them clear her throughout the day definitely helps as well. But sometimes when they're having too many emotions coming at them and things are just really intense, I did teach my children, in particular my daughter, something called circle breathing. It's a very easy technique. Essentially what you do is, this was actually taught to me a long time ago when I was having anxiety attacks in middle school because I couldn't figure out where all my anxiety was coming from, not realizing at the time it was related to some of my encounters and not understanding how that was coming to the surface of my mind and trying to process them. But it worked for me then, and it certainly works for my kids now. So what I do is I get really comfy and I just close my eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and then you're going to breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, hold it for 4. And essentially you're creating a pattern where you're holding each section for 4 seconds to allow yourself that moment to regain control, to connect into your breath, to allow you to reestablish that sense of energetic control. And it'll help you when it comes to things like realizing where your vibration's at. It'll help you to kind of get other people's energies, which can sometimes come to the forefront of our mind and be too intense to deal with, and calm that down. But it also helps to bring you back into this moment. And so what I do with my daughter, because I try to do it with her, I'll be like, breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, and start again. And so I try to do that with her, and it's really interesting when you see yourself on camera doing it because you realize you do it backwards, but that's okay. Do whatever works for you. Just whatever system in place will work for you is what you need to be doing. And you know, it's these little things like that where you start to incorporate the awareness and acknowledgement of your children's psychic abilities and finding tools in place to help them cope and deal with it has been some of the best ways to really allow them to establish more psychic connection as it's growing, and allowing for that metaphysical aspect, that source connected aspect themselves to be brought forward into their day-to-day life without them shutting it down. Because by the time a lot of children reach the ages of like 10, 12, even 14 at the latest, a lot of them have already started to shut down their psychic abilities, and they start to actually really numb out to them. And I'm trying my best to help my children to maintain that psychic connection, to continue growing with it rather than allowing for it to diminish. Because when a lot of these kids are very psychic little people that are teenagers and they don't know how to process that information, quite often they'll turn to things like drugs, alcohol, sex, screen time, even like the different ways of caving into peer pressure as a means of escaping their head to really check out of this reality. And that's something that I feel isn't necessarily the healthiest way of dealing with it, especially as the world is going through a stronger awakening process. The energies are becoming more intense, and it's better for the collective if we're given tools on how to deal with these things. And that's part of why I'm sharing with you ways that I help my kids deal with the psychic aspect, the contact aspect, because I realize that many of my clients are raising little psychic beings themselves. A lot of them have children that are contactees, and I'm hoping videos like this are giving you a better ability to connect in and have a deeper level of understanding of what they're going through. Oh, hello. Sorry, bug. But I'm going to let you go. It was lovely talking to you, and I'm going to get some gardening done before the sun sets. I wish you peace some light.